We did like filibuster and do all sorts of things. I'm like, over to the house. So let's do a screen share. Our screen?
Just trying to print it out.
I don't know where that's. No, you don't have to worry about that because you're coming through that. Will you turn this on?
Somebody's working.
That's me.
You want me to adjust that?
No, I'm just turning it on.
Oh, okay. 5 seconds. Now it should be on.
Get mic down.
Yes, you're in.
Hello. Hi, welcome. We weren't sure if there was going to be a bigger group or a smaller group because of Veterans Day, so happy Veterans Day. Thanks for coming. Easy kind of agenda, no specific presenter, but we're going to try to get together a little bit toward the end and go over some ideas for Computer Science Education Week, and anything that we come up with we'll add to the links and so on. This is being recorded, and hopefully everybody that wanted to come is in. If you're coming in late, then you're just going to be able to hear us and not participate. So, after today, most of our meetings will be back in the other room, but that happened to be the one that was already booked by the time we got to setting up our schedule. So, just a little bit of business to attend to. There's no real news, but we do need to approve the minutes of the previous meeting, September 9th. So you had to have been here to approve them. So if you weren't here and you would like to motion to, does anybody?
Michelle, motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Dawn seconds. Give seconds.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Pass. Just a reminder, if you have not yet sent in your CSTA membership, please do so because it does help us that everybody is a member of CSTA. You do not need to be a teacher. You can be an administrator involved in the community and so on, and it's free, and you get a lot of free benefits and materials from them. Same as before, just keep encouraging to put on the PowerPoint because some people like to see each time they want to go back and check the archives or the website and so on. Future PD, we're going to plan something for the 13th, which is our next meeting, and then Jackie Chetty, Amy Ackerman was able to get her to come the same week as our meeting, and also the other events that we have coming up then. So she's going to be our presenter for March, and we'll meet something for May, and by that time the summer comes right after that. A couple of shout-outs. Bob Heinrich should be attending a little bit toward the end of the meeting, and I did send this email out, but it was a really great article, which I thought was terrific, about Wired for What's Next. He's the Chief Information Officer here, and the article just explains about how you keep up with technology in an institution like this, which is really kind of cool, because I know that I didn't have 3 devices attached to the internet when I went to college here. And even people here maybe 4 or 5 years ago didn't have 3 or 4 devices. So you have to really keep up with the different kinds of devices that we use. And it was a really good article. And then also a shout out to Amy Ackerman because she has received a fellowship from the Stockton Institute for Faculty Development for hybrid and online learning, which is kind of neat. If anybody else has anything else they'd like to share or shout out about? Tony has a new baby girl who's absolutely adorable.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks so much.
Any other shout-outs? Please send them to me if you have any that you'd like to shout out about. Daryl Dietrich began the Central Jersey chapter of Computer Science Teachers Association, and he is now has someone else as president there, and he was very encouraging for us to start here and really, really helpful with that. But he's now just spent all of his non-teaching time working on legislative situations, trying to get computer science involved. So if you do want to see him or talk to him or meet or listen to what he's doing and contact him, he'd be more than happy to answer any questions. So feel free to let him know. You can tell him I told you to visit or call him or meet up with whatever they're doing, because there's another thing they have going on. I'll show you in a couple minutes. There's also a really great article in Education Week about STEM actually being part of the official, computer science being part of STEM now, which I think is really great. I'm really happy about that. I kind of always thought it was, but now we have it in writing and it's official, so that's a good thing. One of the things that some other states are requiring, and New Jersey is looking into, but has not really, I don't think as of yet, has done anything formal on it, is the like a test for actual computer science teachers, sort of like an endorsement or an actual certification. So I just put up some of the materials in case you'd like to look at them. You know, as you're looking at new faculty coming into your schools, or as you're looking to see what else other schools are doing. If you're developing any curriculum, it's kind of neat. I like to always look at other states and what they're doing to see how we compare to what other states are doing. So there's some really good test prep materials, most of which are free for like the mini version. Some of them you have to pay for if you want to get into the more advanced materials, but those are mostly free.
Is there a test in New Jersey that people can take?
I don't think we have a test, but I think the ETS test is specific to the states that have it. So we could look at the details on it. I haven't really looked at them very carefully because I'm really not in that environment 100% anymore. But if someone wants to check it out and do a little assessment. Kind of spending a little more time on the first area. Amy is not going to be here, but she did want to at least let you know that we're going to be having our visit from Jackie Chetty from the University of Johannesburg, and we'll be doing our initiative with respect to the global coding and collaboration. So if you want to keep in touch on that, just send me an email, or you can send it directly to Amy and let me know and let her know that you want to be part of that. A lot of people already are, but there's a lot of really good things happening with her and her coming out and so on. And we do a couple of virtual visits so that we can get ready for that big event. So it's really exciting. Amy also asked that if you have any thoughts of what you'd like to hear her talk about, in addition to her incorporation of computer science to the younger grades, you know, give us an idea what you'd like to hear about so she can be prepared for that. And you want to see what else is happening locally. List you can read over. There's some upcoming events. Always have your EDTC training and workshops for PD, the organizational leadership EDD that's just starting up. Here at Stockton and Philadelphia, we have the Young Innovators Fair. I'm not sure about that too much. Dawn, do you want to say anything about what that is? Anything about it?
Actually, one of the teachers in Violin High School forwarded me that link. I'm not exactly too familiar with it. I just browsed it. It looks pretty interesting. It's I believe it is at the museum. Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
But it's set up so that it's different worlds.
Something our teachers would bring us students to.
Yeah, and it looks like it's for younger students.
Okay. Going back to more for teachers, ISTE in Denver, Colorado. They're still taking proposals, and the CSTASNJ Annual Conference in San Diego.
ISTE proposals have been closed for
have they?
a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so
But
skip that, but you can still
around.
register for the conference.
You can still register for the conference. In about 2 months, they'll probably do a new proposal for like little fast Ignite sessions, but they're not for the actual workshop. So they would be for like maybe hosting Birds of a Feather, or they're going to be looking for people to moderate tables of discussions in some of their big discussion areas. So formal presentations have closed.
Then check back though for many non-formal presentations, and the CST Annual Conference, and they are still accepting. I did just click on that, so that was pretty current. And CST Job Board has some jobs that you can look, and there are a couple in the local area you can look for too. Is the position that is that Edinburgh Township, Tony? Is that still open, or
The
Just
web design position, that is actually closed.
okay?
Yes, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Some more upcoming events. There are some teacher scholarships I saw on the National Science Foundation, so if you want to take a look at those. IEE and Princeton's ACM, and that should say MIT. I don't know, I got cut off with the picture guy there. He's really excited about learning. They're having, it's in the evening, so it's a discussion and presentation on massive online open courses. or vice versa. So it just sounded like a really good thing to go to. Hopefully at some point we will be able to tap into people from IEEE because they do a lot of good events. And then Warren Hills, which is where Daryl Dietrich teaches, they're hosting a code.org workshop, and it's free. And if you want to go up there, you could click on that, and it's, I think that's also sometimes in November. I'm not sure, but let's click on it and recheck the date. And also the CSTA New Jersey does keep a Google Doc of all kinds of professional development you can do and participate in. And then, if you just want to do some self-directed type of PD, a person that I have been in contact with in the UK has a really neat high school in a box for computer science that he actually uses Python for. And then you have Swift Education, CS Pathways, and these are some other new things. The CSTA Voices is that membership magazine you get with your membership to CSTA. And every month they have some really great ideas, and you can, if you're interested in being published, you can send your, what you're working on to them, and you can get your articles published. And also, they have some really great PD videos. So if you have, you're trying to do your own research on some PD. Our computer science competition, we've been working on that. We met and broke into 3 groups. We picked a date, which is March 18th. Jackie Chetty will still be here, so her group will be part of that. We're going to have it in the Alton Auditorium, and we're also going to be using some of C and D wing atrium, and then also the lower D wing computer lab. So we'll be able to do workshops for the teachers that come, and we'll be able to have each of the student groups in different areas. And we broke up into subcommittees. One committee is the content and problem sets, to which, Adam, do you think you can give us a little update on how that's going?
All right, we kind of looked at it. I think the key thing we've determined is that we have a wide range of possibilities. Maybe like an easy level question, a medium level, a more difficult level, so that everybody that comes to the actual event will be able to solve something. Definitely looking at a different grouping of problem sets so that no one comes and just sits there and goes, oh, I can't do this. One nice thing is I teach computer science at the high school level, so we're kind of thinking where my classes are at that point of the year and bouncing that around about the topics. Other things we've talked about is with that, we're thinking we will provide some way to notify the other people in the room when a table or group has answered a problem, what problem it is. So the one suggestion was like blues, like green blues for question 1, red for 2, green for, or blue for 3. That way, if I look around the room and our group is struggling, we see everybody has the green blues up, we'll know, okay, maybe that's the so-called easier question. So we thought about ways to make sure we got everybody involved. Started looking at different content, be a little more technical. Maybe one of the easier problems would just involve variables and some kind of equations. Creating a program to solve an equation, whether it's a physics equation or something. So an application outside of computer science, but using programming to see the different areas it could be in. And then, we talked about more advanced concepts like loops, where you have to process through stuff. And then something on a higher level, such as creating classes. We're looking to kind of hit all ranges to include everybody, but also to challenge everybody.
Any comments? I'll come here. And then we have a group working on sponsorships, and Marianne is working on, Marianne is right over there. Marianne, if you have any comments, great, but if not, if you have any ideas for her for suggestions for any kinds of sponsorships, that would be really great.
I actually didn't attend the last meeting was at Hamilton.
Right.
I was unable to attend.
Okay. Okay.
And, so I did not attend that, but I know that emails have circulated as to different ideas that people had. And I know we were really here prizes, different prizes. Some were monetary, some were little prizes, some were just trophies. There was actually no
like gift cards or something.
Right, yeah. So I think the idea is to get sponsorship,
Right.
business, get prizes. Yeah.
Well, that's going to be really, really important. If anybody has any suggestions for that, because we don't really have budget?
Patty
For
did,
that?
Patty offered up a couple of iTunes cards from
Okay.
the SRI and ETTC.
Okay.
If that's something you think is good. Okay.
I guess I'll be doing a little walkabout on campus looking for some in-house sponsorship for food, because that will probably be our biggest expense, and then if we could just get prizes and so on for this first year till we get some major sponsors, unless you have a suggestion.
Well, I was also thinking, I don't know if anyone reached out. I haven't had a chance, unfortunately, to reach out to some of the local banks, maybe savings bonds.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I think it's stuff and I have been talking.
Oh,
We
you
love
guys
to get.
meeting, right? I didn't attend that one. Right, did you guys have the meeting?
Oh, I went to the one meeting, but I think Duff and I have been talking about it, but we never really put things in fruition yet. It's just been a crazy couple weeks for both of us.
Sure.
But now that things are settled, the dust has settled a little bit. We definitely would love to put together a letter, at least to send out to local businesses, local banks, or at least something in our hand to approach these banks with, you know. And I think most banks, even if it's a $25 savings bond, that's something, you know.
Now it's all confirmed, everything.
Yeah, they will need that sponsorship letter.
Yeah, so we'll draft something up, and we were just talking about that, actually, saying we have to get to it. So between this week and next week, we'll have to draft it, or let's do, maybe we can bounce back and
Fine,
forth.
okay, okay, good. And even on Hudson, they were very good about it, as far as food. You didn't make anything from scratch.
We need to get gift cards even, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
There's kids love Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, right, thanks.
Then just an idea, Tony, for prizes. I know the FAA does summer internships with high school students, so maybe if you're in the winning group, you will get one of those positions.
Oh, wow, that's a
possibly.
great
idea.
Yeah, because they're going to take high school students, I'm sure they would look at this competition and say, all right, well, here's a student that might apply for this. That gets, however they approve their applications, that person gets first dibs or first look.
Sure.
Award systems or something. Consider, I can get you the contact.
Please do.
A couple of my students last year did get the
That'd be great. I mean, Lockheed Martin might be even able to do
Yeah,
something.
I actually know a guy really high up in Lockheed Martin, because he was gonna come and present at my coding club.
Okay.
Yeah, Terry Gettis. I actually didn't know he was high up until a parent on the, in my coding club said that, he didn't know him, but that he's very high up the ladder there, so they have some weight.
Oh, that's great. I have a buddy there as well, so
Okay,
we can
good.
do that, maybe they can.
Right,
That'd
great.
be great.
That's
Awesome.
good.
Thanks, that sounds like we're moving on, so that's really good. Appreciate that, I appreciate the help.
I'm getting all these dates on the calendar. So
Okay.
when people visit our website, they'll see all the dates for all the competitions.
And then Amy and Michelle and I and a couple others are on the day of event logistics, and computer science services is also very helpful in that. They got us the room and the location, and we selected the date. And right now we're just working on invites, so as soon as we get a little bit better of a general, maybe synopsis of the content, we can send out the invite. I'd like to just send out first to save the date, and at least so that people know. And I think that we need to come up with, based upon sponsorships, would also dictate how many people we can actually host. So, and we need to do something for the teachers and chaperones that come, something to keep them busy and whatnot, and maybe even a tour of the facilities. And there are people from Stockton and also from Atlantic Cape Community College are also very helpful in each of these subcommittees.
So besides the invites, what else do you need for this event?
For the logistics, or?
Yeah.
We're going to need volunteers for the rooms, for the day of the event. We're going to need proctors, computer services, and some of the teachers and faculty and adjuncts are considering bringing their students. So that kind of flows between content and day of event logistics. So those professors and faculty members that are involved are going to see how it works. I believe that's the same week as spring break. So those students that are going to stay, they'll be able to participate in hosting. That's a Friday. That's a Thursday.
So if whoever wants to volunteer, who do they contact?
They can just send an email to me or you, and we can forward it.
Oh.
To me, it's fine. Yeah, if they send it to me, that's good. Well, you would send it to me anyway, so.
Have we considered how many kids from the school will allow?
How many from each school? We can, no, not really. I'm thinking we may want to consider opening it first to our members who have, been involved and been part of the organization, and then branch it out from there. So we could make, say, it depends on how you set that content and the problem sets on. If it's groups of 2 or 3, because they can invite 2, each school can have 2 representative teams. So.
How many kids do you expect in total?
I don't know. I still think that kind of goes on to funding and how much money we have to provide at least some sort of lunch. So a lot of sponsors we can provide for more students. What did you think? We're thinking maybe 30 for students for the first, no more than 30 is our first jump into it. Is that what we're talking about in the meeting?
I thought we had said 50, but
50?
Let me look at the notes.
Well, we have all of D-Wing computer labs, so I think we could handle up to 50, as long as we could.
It's just logistically from participants' side of it, like, might you be able to get a bus and make it up township to come here with 6 kids? Is that anything like, there's a lot of schools going to run into that issue, like, all right, wait, we're not doing that for kids. I don't know.
We'll likely have that in the whole class.
But then if we bring the whole class, we have stuff we just
Okay. Well, maybe we definitely need to get together and go over with our 3 different groups and come up with some details. So we should send a letter out really soon before December hits, so people can start their trip forms and whatnot. Some people need a month or 2 lead time to do a trip form from a high school. We're working toward high school just, to start out with, just because we need to focus first, and then I would really like to see it go into at least 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, in the following year or 2. And there are some other competitions that are going on right now. Oh, any other comments on that? Because we could do a whole separate, after meeting on that. There's a couple other student competitions that you can get involved in. NCWIT, the one on the bottom, is actually for girls only who need to be in high school.
Yes, that just closed.
Okay, that just closed. Okay, so, and then the other Cutting Edge Old School was another one. So you can click on those to see. NCWIT is an ongoing every year event. So check into that. The teacher one of those too? Because there's also one for teachers you can apply for the NCWIT.
That just closed. That's weird to that.
And then one of the other things that I think we're going to try to focus a little bit on when the students come is, how students can involve in computer science locally. A lot of the students think you have to leave the area to get computer science majors. So the first 2 is Stockton and ACCC's links to computer science. If you're doing any kind of career activity in your classrooms, you want to include computer science in that. That would be really great. And then maybe we'll get them a tour of our facilities and so on when they come in. But even if you have younger students and you want to talk about what you need to do, what kinds of skill you need coming in. And then there's also a couple of scholarships for students. If you have any of your own children that are going into college, or you know of any students, there's a couple that can be on there. The Stockton one, you already need to be a Stockton student. And then that was CSTA scholarship. CS Ed Week, there's a little more interaction here. There's a whole bunch of, back to the slide for that, so there's some brochures like this. If you're in high school and you'd like some of these, just let me know and I'll make sure we get you some. This is a computer science brochure for Stockton. So there's a couple of them on the table. If you want to take them, feel free to take them. So Computer Science Education Week. If you're not familiar with code.org, they have a really great packet of things that you can use. And Tony, would you take this and pass it around? Free. Posters, stickers, all kinds of cool things. Free workshops you can sign up for, and so on. So the things that we found the easiest to use are Hour of Code, CS Ed Week, and then the Hour of Code has a specific couple other areas. So
Did
these
you
are
all
the
see
things.
the new Star Wars? New Star Wars Hour of Code? Great.
One of the favorite things that our students really liked last year, we did this after Hour of Code, even so that's like December, and then a little bit like the following week we did a follow-up activity. And then there's a Made with Code, and you can actually program the national tree or some of the state trees as well using code, so they light up in different kinds of patterns and sequences. And then once you do it, it worked from our school, so it's pretty wide open to use it. Once you do that, then you can, they'll send you a date, like a date and time that your lights are actually going to show, and then you can watch it on their webcam. And then NC Lab has a free trial, and there's some information. They've been sending out a lot of information. And they also have solution manuals, because I find sometimes it's really good to have those solution manuals. And then a lot of people used Scratch. And then there was a really good article, I don't want to click it, but you can click on it and look at it, but it was about Google's 2 billion lines of code, how they store it all in one place, and how they collaborate on it, and how they protect it from being utilized in the wrong way. But it's a really, really good article. So if you want to send something timely out to your students about code, you want to read something kind of neat about it. So, thoughts and discussions about what we could do to promote computer science during Computer Science Ed Week, which is why we don't have a presenter. We're going to just chat about this. I thought we'd check pre-K to 4. I know Kevin is only listening and not jumping in.
He can chat though.
But he can send us some. Anybody else K to 4? Any thoughts?
We've decided that we're not going to be doing our coding. Kevin says hi, by the way. We decided that we're not going to be doing our coding during that week only because there were so many glitches last year. So we're actually going to be doing it, sooner. And then on that week they'll be doing other things. So that's where we're going to. That's our thought. We just don't want to be bogged down with everything crashing and failing to load. Kevin's now 5'8", and he needs to get Betsy Connell, his counterpart in elementary, into CS. Yes, get Betsy in. Are you going to be doing stuff during CS Ed Week that is coding, or are you going to be doing more of the STEM stuff, Kevin? Not sure yet.
Okay.
He's not sure yet.
Okay. Well, if there's any good ideas, feel free to send them along, and we'll maybe, if you want, we can make a Google Doc of the different and activities and so on.
He says he's still doing crazy, amazing design thinking stuff.
Anyone else in 5 to 8 that has any thoughts about things that worked well last year or things that are planning to do upcoming?
I have some ideas that I found that I thought were good. We're going to do the hour code for over 6th, 7th, 8th grade. So, but there was some ideas like have a competition with problem solving competition or a poster session. Bring in a speaker who is a programmer coming to the classes and talk about kind of a career presentation on computers. They said to can hold a raffle where students can win prizes and have certificate awards for computer science accomplishment. Let's see, and then hands-on. You could have include your students' families by inviting them to school to learn about computer science. Have a Scratch day where parents come in and learn Scratch from you. Actually, I think that's a great idea.
These are fabulous ideas.
Yeah.
I'd like to type them into the
Then when the kids talk about coding, like that, like I get some teachers like, so this way they come in and then their kids can participate with them and shows how good they are at it, and then it actually is just not a game that they play, and that's a future. So, and then they said have a game hour where students can play and compare their favorite games. If they had that during the first day, I'm sure they would love that. So, but the thing is, in my school, you have to have the teachers willing to bring the kids in during a core curriculum time. So that, unless you do this evening thing. And then the other one was cute, was have a movie suggested title for War Games, Tron, or Social Network. So that would be another thing in the evening where you just bring it to life, computer science. So I thought they were nice ideas.
So not hackers.
Yeah.
I have a lot of comments that I've been coming here, split teacher, sometimes some days it's split. And I've always enjoyed listening to Mrs. Dustin talk about her high school teachers. And was it last year? I think it was last year. The work thing came out, and I talked with my students. And I saw students who wouldn't talk to each other get together in front of the smart board and talk and solve problems. So that was all I needed to see, that this would be a job opportunity for students. So I'm trying to Google CS first, and this was the third meeting we had today. The interesting thing is you're going to have to somehow sell the idea that teachers in the future are going to have to teach things that they don't know anything about. And that is really going to be a hard sell, a really hard sell. But that's where education is going to have to go.
Going there.
That's where it is. And that's where it is. Okay, well, in my little neck of the world, that's where we're going, where you are, where it is. So I think you guys are the rock stars in the 21st century. I really do. You are all that and more. So I am always inspired by you, and I've gotten makey, and some of my kids really liked it. Nobody else in my middle. But the kids that I got to sign up, one little girl said to me, when we had the first club meeting, she said, and I was so excited about this. I couldn't sleep less. Today she said, when I'm finished everything here this year, can I sign up for it again next year? I have some girls who people thought, maybe didn't have a future, sitting and moving and enjoying it. They might be responsible for little brothers and sisters. So, I thank you for everything. I am almost 60. It isn't easy. It's not easy. But I'm sure it's a lot of fun. They are so happy whenever the announcement comes along that the Rotary Club is leaving. They all go, yes! That's what the other teachers do. So, there you go. How are we going to get teachers to teach?
I had the opportunity to visit two of the classes that I just had at the club, and they were really enthusiastic and had never been involved in coding before, so it's very, very infectious.
And they're 5th and 6th grade.
With no coding experience, but yet they're taking it on, they're collaborating, they're working together. Anybody in the 9 to 12 have any success strategies that they have worked with? Adam, you can give us some ideas.
The 9 to 12, I found the hour of code, a lot of the activities on the website may be a little too simple for the high school kids and work quickly. What I've actually done is I've had my students just bring a friend to class. The friends in the study hall, or the friend's teacher lets them leave for whatever reason and come down to my room. I just have my computer science student show their friends the different things that we do. Kind of just let them work together on our projects. That way they can see what we do in my course. So it's an improvement tool. But also for the high school kids, it's a little higher level than maybe some of the code.org activities, which are amazing for the pre-K to 8th graders, but at a certain point, high school kids, after 10 minutes, kind of lose their interest. But I have found when the current computer science students bring a friend and show them, hey, we've used Alice, or here's how you program in Java, or do game lab, which we have, or web design thing, that always kind of builds collaboration and introduces people to what happens in the computer science class. So now we have to admit that it's all sit in a cube, type, and no one talks to each other. It's not a collaborative process, and it kind of helps break that myth. So I actually put a lot of it on my students, which I think at the high school level you can, if they start to see it. I had quite a few students that always say, oh wait, this is kind of cool, I know cool about this, now I want to do this. This had happened every year. I have at least 5 to 8 seniors that take their first computer science course, and they go major at it, and they had no clue what it was. I think kind of just leaning on them, hey, what do you think you needed to see before that we currently do in class that would have gotten you involved earlier? Bring a friend, let's show them, just kind of word of mouth. This that works from 9 to 12, probably not for 4 to 3. That's okay.
Kevin had mentioned in the Hangout that he's going to make resources available to other teachers to encourage them. And that was actually something where if you send out a blast every now and then saying, look, this is what we're doing in our class. So if other teachers are willing to do that, like at least they see some of the things that are accessible.
Right,
So-
like they could just reply to one of our messages and send it out to everybody, or what do you?
I think when you're talking about like trying to advance gift ed in your particular district, just letting people know what some of those things are and what they mean, because you don't really have time in your day to like have those conversations with other educators. But you're thinking about this as a mission of expanding the computer sciences. So just sending out like, oh, we did this and this is how we did it, just like a one sheet, just to your fellow educators. And Kevin says, gotta move this stuff out of our spaces and into the regular classes. Silos are bad. And I totally agree, because I was actually at the NJEA, and one of the teachers that was staying with us, her name is Liz, and she works at Mantua, she works with Meredith Martin. She was very devastated that Meredith was out on Monday doing trainings with us in Ireland. She said, oh, I have to bring my kids to the STEM room, and they really, you know, here I am in STEM lab, and normally Meredith's there. So she felt a little out of her depth. So definitely, silos are bad, I agree. Mary is awesome, yes, we all love Mary. Just, you know, making it a little more accessible, you know, because we do have, you know, other disciplines that do that. When our ESL teachers, they'll send out like PSYOP strategies, things like that. So just little CS strategies.
I have a question.
Okay.
So for these teachers who do not feel comfortable learning this stuff, is there a course, like a crash course, an easy course that they can take?
Well, we could actually, the things that are available on code.org is very accessible for people who've done no coding at all. So our code, that website, just if you even just have the teachers do that, just so they understand what some of it is that we're talking.
Answer that since I actually kind of went through it. Code.org has an actual curriculum that managed to get to. Curriculum has plugged and unplugged. So it's great for movement around the room and stuff. I've been trying to give that book away to so many different teachers, and I keep saying, and I guess the point I'm trying to make is Google and Code.org really should be doing, I think, sometimes what we're doing, because they have made it so easy for people that don't know what they're doing to do it. And you just have to kind of have trust. But CS First sent materials, they sent me headphones, they sent me passports for the kids, they sent me solution sheets, badges, and I was going through it little by little. I'm an English major, by the way. And they couldn't make it any easier. But some, you know, not a class, no tutorials, you get the book. They do have tutorials, but they have to somehow make that first leap. And I don't know how to get them to that.
And also code.org has 20-hour training classes. When they say 20 hours, you can go to the barrel of code.
Yeah, it doesn't take 20 hours. Our 8th graders would break through it.
One for the lower, course 2, which I started middle school, so I grade 3 for middle school, 4, and then there's an accelerated class. So they do have hours, but teachers could actually learn if they it's terminology.
Mm-hmm. Kevin says the teachers don't need to know how the kids do all the work, let them play. Yes, yes, yes. And what you said.
And also, one of the things that we did at the high school is we asked the media center if we could use their computers for the day and put our classes there, and then send out an email to everybody in the school building, said, if you'd like to bring your classes in for a class period, our students will show them how to do things.
And sometimes that's a really good thing because then those teachers can just bring their students in and show that they incorporate it. So if it's a math teacher, we would look for mathematical types of activities. If it was a geography teacher, we would look for activities that went with that person's content, have our students show them that. And that was a really good, a good thing to do. That was one hour of code was like one day instead of like the whole week. So now we kind of celebrate the whole week. But that's when we were doing it for a day.
But just to add some, one thing that I've done at the high school too, I know that we want to try to get into class, and the question is how to get teachers that are uncomfortable. I kind of put the onus on some of my students that if you're given, I don't know, options at the end of a unit or something, why don't you propose to your teacher, can I do this? I know how to program analysis. Can I create a scene in a virtual world instead of drawing a post-it board? Or instead of telling the story in my own, I've always put the onus on them to introduce the ideas. Because, like Jared said, teacher doesn't have to know how to use Alice. If the kid says, hey, can I use Alice to create this virtual world? Or can I develop this website? Or can I create this program that will demonstrate my understanding of whatever we did? Teacher can say, yeah, sure. And also the teacher can say, hey, I now have a technology component in my class. This is great. There's no real extra knowledge required from the teacher. So I know that's why I told my kids I kind of want our CS program to go to high school where they start to say, hey, we have this option to the 5 you're giving us at the end of this chapter or this unit, and I create my graph using 3D modeling software. Doesn't mean the teacher of the calc class doesn't know how to do that. The student can show it. The teacher will be able to look at the graph and say, yeah, that's correct. We'll have the knowledge of what the graph should look like. So that's one way I think that you can get teachers uncomfortable with it to kind of get a little more involved in it and start to include it. I mean, like I said, you're probably talking for the high school student that's going to be confident enough to say, hey, I have this knowledge or background.
But they did that in middle school a couple of years ago. My son was in middle school, and the teacher just said, okay, you have to prove to me somehow in your group, would you understand what a prehistory village looked like? And, you know, all the different components, materials they use, how they live. And my son and his friends, they just went and built a whole Minecraft prehistory village, and then I made them screencast if that was the only input I had, because I knew that they would go over their time to prevent if they just went on the fly. And you weren't sure that the material would actually work on that teacher's computer in Minecraft. So, but, you know, it really does take that teacher to make the leap and say, okay, I'm not, as long as this stuff is in it.
Yeah.
You know, so a more open-ended rubric.
But I think the need for everybody to include technology these days. I can't see how many people in my building come to me and they're like, what can we do together so I can say I had a technology lesson? The first thing I say is just add that component to the options on the assignments you want your students to do. Don't learn anything new. Just let them see what they know. Say, hey, anybody have a tech option for displaying your knowledge? They'll tell you that, and there you go. You have tech in there. So I think teachers will be willing to do it. Absolutely, if they just kind of get encouraged, whether it's through the students or CSTA members or staff or whatever it may be.
Well, I think that's really important because a lot of what we're trying to do now is really make it a student-centered learning experience. So if the students can create their own assessment of the subject, then, and using technology, then we're definitely doing our job. Any other 9 to 12 considerations? Collegiate, I'm not really sure if you celebrate Computer Science Ed Week, but I think it'd be kind of neat to have tables out and encourage students to take computer science classes. Is there anything you're doing at all?
Something that I'm really aware of, but I try to work a little bit closer with the Dean of Business where our computer science program currently resides, so that there is a little bit more exposure and marketing to computer science, particularly because right now, the economy has recovered in the sense that the job market is so strong for computer science majors. I can tell you that I just participated in a regional job fair through DICE, where I went, trying to solicit applications for Stockton, and the competition amongst the industry is really, really strong, particularly for software developers. Whereas a few years ago, when the economy was in more of a recession, those jobs just weren't there. They're all back for science students. And I think particularly in the 9 through 12, those of you who are educating students who are considering entering your science or information technology field, that's something that this week, or this upcoming week, you may want to highlight. Just the type of professionals, and then of course the earning capacity, which is quite attractive. So that's the feedback that I want to share, just in terms of the relevancy of higher ed.
How are the computer science majors? Do you have a lot? Are they
there's
open or there's demand?
Well, there's a significant increase in enrollment again right now, what we saw over the last couple of years. And I happen to be an adjunct here in the program as well, so I see it just based on the wait lists for a lot of the courses, amongst students, and of course the ones that work for me and that I advise, that are in the program. The one thing that's lacking, we've talked about this in this group all in the past, is just diversity amongst the students, particularly the number of females versus the number of males who are in the program.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's been my observation both in the courses that I teach and then also in the applicant amongst the positions that increasingly advertise for, and that's still not the case.
Community ideas? Well, we have to be able to learn all.
I have another community idea, and this revolves around makerspaces. And I don't know if that has been discussed a lot. I don't know, those of you who had the opportunity to attend NJEA last week, Kevin, who's probably on the Google chat, Kevin's the same Kevin, Garrett, he's doing this on a smaller scale now in his school. But one of the initiatives that I'd like to bring to the community is a makerspace that is more community driven. That's not here just at higher ed, but one in which we can bring both young students and higher ed students together to do creative projects. And this is interdisciplinary, not really just computer science, but it all involves some level of technology. Not just 3D printing, there are other projects. And even in some of our earlier meetings, we looked at some technologies that make up a makerspace. So I think this is something we need to follow a little bit closely and look to opportunities for grant funding potentially to create this type of environment that really is truly cross-disciplinary.
I think I would space Stockton Regional High School, and it's how yes, she's working on big space for girls. Is that nice? You can think of different big space for boys, big space for girls. Usually, big space for guys, more like the boys stuff. But think about big space for girls. That's a lot of very. I love it, like for girls. I know my big space.
Kevin is also weighing in. He agrees that making needs to be a community thing, not just schools. There's so much more than 3D printing, which there is. I mean, I go on and see all the different projects people are making, and 3D printing is just like 2% of what is actually happening in makerspace.
Tomorrow night, our school district is having a strategic planning meeting. We're going to say what we're good at and what we're not very good at. How can what should I say in elementary school? What could I say that would further this?
Well, I guess, the way that school is now is a big departure from the way it was when we were kids. I mean, when we were kids, we wouldn't have called it makerspace. We would have called it education. It was, we always had hands-on projects. And, we're really kind of just getting back to that. And they've put this new label on it, makerspace. But really, I mean, we've done this kind of things before. So if you just say that there is, maybe just a lack of creative spaces for students to actually just use their own minds and not be directed towards any one particular goal, but to be able to set their own goals, see what's available to them, and something like that, just to build those moments into after-school programs, before-school programs, or lunchtime programs if it can't be part of the curriculum per se.
It's technology experimentation. Hardware experimentation is the development of a working prototype that can solve a problem that may involve technology, may involve software, but doesn't have to. It could really just be something that the students are assembling to solve a problem.
Well, I know on Makerspace, at least our school, the library started doing Makerspace. We were just at PLC 2 weeks ago, and I was completely unaware that this was happening. So it was really nice to see that, and that there are actually many in the high school. But on another level for community involvement, I know we have family success centers like throughout many communities, and a lot of these family success centers are willing to even help tutor students at night. I mean, they do anything from helping people out with their taxes to job fairs to what have you. But I was at a council meeting last night, and the two women who run the Family Success Center here in Galloway, I mean, I was surprised with all the services that they're willing to offer the community. And even for December 7th through the 13th, I mean, maybe they can even announce they'll offer computer science week where students can come in if we can get some volunteers from the community who are computer science savvy, whether it be someone talking about computer science, or whether it's just getting people set up on code.org to tinker with it, to get an idea of what it is. And this could be for parents to come with their children who might have an interest in technology. And children, as we all know, probably have more of an interest in technology than some of the parents, just because the parents are busy, working and doing what they have to do, that, some of these kids know more, a lot of them probably know more than their parents when they come regarding technology. So that's just another thought. Maybe family success centers might be a good avenue as well.
Plus, community-wise, we have so many people that need to be retrained into a skill that they've been better off in another particular position, that I think there's a lot to help them look at new areas that might not be so hard for them to step into, even though they might need education to get really far into that field. So I think there's other things we can do with respect to that. Any other thoughts on community type initiatives?
There's lots of grants that are available for running community programs. So, if that's something that, they definitely could be funded, Maybe reaching out to some of the community organizations to see if anybody's interested in sponsoring like that. I mean, the Rotaries, the Lions clubs, the different Elks, they all do sponsor different things. They have some level of outreach. So it's a possibility, bringing them into the conversation.
Any other thoughts? Maybe on your... Thank you all for such really good input and ideas. Any other suggestions on that? We can move on to the next topic, which is just a rehash of the 3D printing and filling in on makerspaces, even though it's a small amount. It's just so visual, and it's so interesting for people to see that have never seen one of these things work. It's really kind of cool. Ken Tompkins is a faculty member here, and he has a blog about it. And then this was just the same link from the last time, and then that's the link for Mickey Keats for the Enabling the Future from when we had him as our presenter last time. Thank you, Bob, for getting him. And there's a few things that we had talked about back then, and that was kind of like maybe having people compile things, and then we have a day of service to put them together, or so there are some new thoughts and ideas on how to actually make that work. But before I turn it over to Bob, I just wanted to say that that link is for the link to the session that Mickey Keats had done previously, right after our last meeting.
Actually, that link right there is the session that we hosted when the folks from Enable came to Stockton. So this is the speech from John Scholl from RIT, who's the founder of Enable, Enable the Future, who presented that Friday afternoon, and there were some members of the community that were there as part of that presentation. Related to the day of service, and this is actually very timely for me to share this information, because just earlier this week on Monday, myself and our coordinator of our service learning program here at Stockton, as well as our current dean of graduate studies, Lou Whitener, we had a phone conference with the folks from Enabling the Future to discuss the day of service, and they're very excited about this opportunity. What we had discussed was having the hand kits actually shipped to us that they would be printing for us. So although many of us have begun to print some hands and do some assembly on our own, for the day of service, they're actually going to provide us with the kits as well as visual instructions on the assembly. The only thing that Stockton will need to really essentially provide is the labor. And that's sort of the beauty of the day of service project. So the way in which we described having this work is we're hoping to have a team of about 60 volunteers that would work probably in this room. This is the room we talked about with this type of configuration, because you need some space. And the hope is that that group of 60 would be broken into teams of likely 3. And 3 individuals would assemble hopefully 2 hands over the course of a 4-hour block. Break in between for lunch that would be served. And the nice part about the activity is in addition to going through the process of actually assembling the hand, you would also then write a note to really personalize it to the child who would be receiving it, and be able to have that prosthetic from the folks that are actually assembling it. So I think that it's going to turn out to be a really neat activity to really augment what Stockton already does, as well as the community, in terms of our annual day of service on Martin.
What? Oh, that's on Martin.
Yes, yes. So most of you, if you're interested in participating, hopefully don't have school that day, and can join us for this project, which I think is going to be quite exciting. Any questions about that?
So we're free to send that to our members, and we can start be ready for sign-ups. Do you want us to keep a separate list of sign-ups and then just march you in every group, or do you want them?
I know that Daniel Tomic has a website, which I believe will have the project selections set up. So once I have that URL from him, I'll send it to you, and you can send it to.
Okay, does that answer your question?
I'll see if I can make this stuff available that day.
Yeah, and certainly for right now, just save the date so that you have it.
Okay, well, we'll put it on our calendar, we'll just put a save the date out and then some details.
They're actually going to give us the ability to fire that in bulk. So there's going to be a small cost, plus we're going to need to have the tools as well. Yep, yeah. We've bought a few of those kits already.
Okay. Well, I didn't have a connection. I went to fishing line, and I could bring the fishing line, and I knew it was
Yeah, you can get a kit to build your own Raptor for $15, and it comes with all the right size screws and the Velcro. What I did is, once we bought a kit, we created sort of an inventory of all of those parts so that we could buy them in bulk from Amazon. Another way. But there also is, specific tools like numerous pliers and a very small screwdrivers. So, we're going to make sure that since we're doing such a mass assembly, there is going to be a little bit of cost from Stockton's perspective, just to make sure, or at least, go through the inventory where we can get those tools and our plant management. Therefore.
I wonder if we couldn't send that out on Stock Talk, just like an open list of these are the things we need for this. Does anybody want to donate them and send them through Interrupts now to you?
Yeah, but because it is only a one-time. That's actually a great idea, Michelle.
And if they want the tool back, put tape all over it with your name, but
Yeah. January
you
18th.
could crowdsource that.
Jot that in.
January 18th?
Yeah.
Summer camp.
Okay, and on the note of 3D printing, I'm not sure if you've seen this already, but I just thought it was really, really cool. I saw it in a magazine, I just took a picture, but I had another picture coming afterward. There's a company in Amsterdam that's building, and this is going to be a pedestrian bridge, so don't think Mack trucks, a pedestrian bridge over top of the canal with a 3D printer as it goes along, so it's kind of floating over top of the space. I don't know if it makes things work. I just think it's just really quite fascinating. So the point is, the bot will extrude the cords of the molten steel into the patterns, waver them as cool, then moves ahead, making its own tracks over this canal as it goes along. So 24 feet should take 2 months to build, but I just think that's just fascinating, I really do. And then that was another picture of it going along. And if you go onto the PowerPoint and you just click on the picture, it'll take you to the video about the company and how they're doing that and so on. So I don't think our maker spaces are quite ready for this, but I think it's really neat. So on that note, I just pretty much went through everything we needed to go over in this meeting. Really, really appreciate all the contributions, and it's archiving, so if you want to listen to it and fast forward to the spot, we can fast forward, right? The spot where we talked about all the different integration ideas that we could use for computer science and beyond. That's good. Did I miss any shout outs? Anybody have any questions, comments?
Kevin, do you have anything? All good. Thank you.
Okay, well, thanks for all the great contributions. If we don't have any other questions, we can adjourn. There's still more pizza and beverages over there.
There's a free show.
Yes, you have time to go sneak into the 60s show down the way. And Ahab is over in the Performing Arts Center, but I don't know what time that's over with. So there's still a lot of good things. So shall I say we shall adjourn? Motion to adjourn? Seconded?
I move.
Move, seconded?
Okay.
We're done. Okay, thank you all. Next meeting is January